Like McCauley, they were once the cute kid going to the AFC Championships, but then stopped working for a while. But then came back and looked like they were doing meth every day.
Tennis. I'm with this shit like I'm Dennis. I started this, I'm a business. Be hating, trying to blemish my image. Who want the smoke? 2 to 3 count with the scope. Extended clip long as a rope. We rob his nose, just like he had him a coat. I knew the boy was a pull up with the gang. You know that we buying it. What is your setting? What is you claiming? I am a beat.
Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. I really hope the Browns win the AFC North for the first time ever, or since 1987 when it was the AFC Central Perna. I honestly believed the Browns would accomplish that feat this season until I saw Baker Mayfield shaved off his source of power like a real idiot. Would Peyton Manning lobotomize that big, beautiful head? Would Russell Wilson wear lifts? Would Tom Brady stop paying the refs? No. You know who wins in the North, Baker? Bearded men. I feel like the NFL's first female scout, Connie Carberg, really jammed Baker on Twitter about his beard, though.
You were like, oh.
You know, I love the beard. Keep it forever.
Baker, you're lucky that even with a smooth face, you're still way more likable than Andy Dalton, Ben Rapisberger, and a quarterback whose only weakness is throwing. Today, Wilkies and I take a long, hard look at the Cleveland Browns offseason from free agency to the draft to QB shaving habits to determine if they really improved and if Cleveland can be the top seed in the North. That's Good Sports. Please, if you're new to this channel and you love football, subscribe here. Also, this episode is sponsored by Manscaped. Hair, beard, chest, back, balls, feet. Hair, beard, chest, back, balls, feet. Hair, beard, chest, back, balls, feet. Fish market? It doesn't matter where you shave. It matters how you shave. The #1 place for total body maintenance is Manscaped.com. As a man with the ability to grow hair on any part of my body that's thicker than the jungles in the Amazon basin, I have put the Lawnmower 2.0 through the ringer. It is my favorite manscaping tool, and I recommend you try the Perfect Package 2.0 plus Peak Hygiene Plan. It comes with the lawnmower, the plow, the crop preserver, the crop reviver, the pube mat, and a free travel storage bag, and a replacement blade for your lawnmower every 3 months for just $14.99. If you're already manscaping, definitely check out their new replenishment plans, where you choose the frequency of delivery so you never run out of your favorite product. Use my promo code SPORT20 or the link in the description to save 20% when you order from Manscaped. I'm not sure if there has been a more fascinating team to follow than the Browns, starting from the 2018 NFL Draft. I mean, GM John Dorsey came in swinging what I can only assume to be a gargantuan gum-chewing python of a phallus after Sashi Brown gutted the Browns and stockpiled them with 1 million draft picks, making it very easy for Dorsey to draft the most swingingest phallus QB #1 overall in Baker Mayfield while giving Sashi zero credit. Dorsey has also been able to go on some significant spending sprees because of all the cap space Sashi Brown cleared. That's important because a big reason Dorsey was fired in Kansas City, next to his management style,
What do you think of a person who only does the bare minimum?
was because he had no clue how to manage the salary cap. He may still not care about it, but we saw Baker Mayfield and Denzel Ward go top 5 in 2018 to the Browns, followed by an encore appearance on Hard Knocks, where we learned Dez Bryant is a joke and that the Browns coaching staff is even a bigger joke. Hugh Jackson and offensive coordinator Todd Haley got fired on my birthday, which I think is a great sign for you Browns fans, or a sign I am the Hugh Jackson of YouTube. And like Hugh, I blame everyone else for my failures. Those two got the boot after starting the season with a tie and a 2-5-1 record. After those clowns were fired, Cleveland went 5-3 under the guidance of the equally crazy Greg Williams. I do think the Browns are a team on the rise, but I have to be a bit bit cautious, as those final 5 wins all came against sub-500 clubs. The 3 losses were to the Chiefs, Texans, and Ravens, and while the Ravens game was close, Houston and Kansas City beat the Browns by 16. But then again, a team with the rookie quarterback and an interim head coach achieving a winning record is incredibly impressive in the NFL. Almost as impressive as the witchcraft Hugh Jackson performed to not be fired after being the worst coach in the league twice. John Dorsey hit home runs on 3 of his first 4 draft picks with running back Nick Chubb, corner Denzel Ward, and, finding a franchise quarterback. Something that Cleveland hasn't had since John Elway broke Bernie Kosar. Dorsey fired 2 coaches mid-season, which was the correct move, used Greg Williams as an interim pawn, let him go after the season, named Freddie Kitchens the new head coach, grabbed Steve Wilks after his one-and-done season as head coach in Arizona, and named him defensive coordinator. And all of that happened before the Browns blew their wad of cash in 2019 free agency. Wait, shit, I forgot. They also claimed Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt after the Chiefs cut him for kicking a woman in a hotel hallway, which apparently is far more offensive than anything Tyreek Hill or Frank Clark have ever done. And by the way, when asked, Baker Mayfield called Kareem Hunt a great kid. When I say the words, a great kid, who do you think of? Maybe Renee Zellweger's son in Jerry Maguire? Ryan Ing, 2019 spelling bee champion, whose winning word was fascism, by the way. Sure, but definitely not that great kid, Kareem Hunt. You're 1 year older than him, by the way, Baker. Why are you calling him kid already? Are you practicing for your future job in the Fox broadcast booth next to Tucker Carlson when the world is under the fascist regime of Cletus, the football robot? A future none of us want. Now, for the free agency wad blowing of cash, mind you, their off-season key additions include the Big Fish, Odell Beckham Jr. and Olivier Vernon, both from the Giants, in exchange for guard Kevin Zeitler and safety Jabril Peppers, plus a 1st and 3rd round pick. Beckham immediately slides into the offense next to his college teammate and best friend, Jarvis Landry, and Vernon gets to assume the Jamie Collins role as a pass rusher alongside Myles Garrett, but Vernon sadly didn't already have a best friend on the Browns. Garrett seems pretty nice. I'd see what his hobbies are if I were you, Vernon. Hint, he likes poetry and paleontology. The biggest off-season addition, though, has to be the signing of the original God of Sun himself, AAF quarterback Garrett Gilbert, who would have probably won the AAF MVP. They also signed defensive lineman Sheldon Richardson, who, unlike young Sheldon, deserves to last more than 1 season. The Chiefs' other tight end, Demetrius Harris, offensive lineman Eric Cush and Kendall Lamb, safety Morgan Burnett, and outside linebacker Darius Taylor, coming off his first real season of production at the position from Tampa Bay. Now, there's no doubt the starting 4 on the Browns' defensive line is extremely talented. Olivier Vernon, Sheldon Richardson, Larry Ogunjobi, and Myles Garrett. The question is the depth and how the rotational players will perform to try and improve that defense. Cleveland had one of the worst tackling units in the NFL last year and gave up the 3rd most yards per game. And for those offensive investments to really pay off, defense has to be better under Steve Wilks. Carolina had 50 sacks when he was the defensive coordinator in 2017, something Myles Garrett should be excited about. But their key losses...
But Steve Wilks, he is zone quarterback. I mean, I said quarterback. He is zone, he more like zone instead of man, if I'm not mistaken. He more like a zone defensive coordinator.
Include Jamie, the Patriots tricked us again, Collins, tight end Darren Fells, guard Kevin Zeitler, safety Jabril Peppers, who I already mentioned, and defensive lineman Emmanuel Ogbah. They also waived center Kyle Friend on April 27th. Sure, he was a reserve center, but it's never easy to lose a friend. In case you're wondering, this episode is all about friendships. Zeitler's loss on the offensive line is a little bit troubling, so the Browns will have to count on their 2nd-year offensive lineman, Austin Corbett, who they drafted 33rd overall in 2018 to fill that void. In letting Zeitler go, I think the Browns' Achilles heel in 2019 could be their offensive line. I mean, I think you have real question marks with Greg Robinson, career underperformer, and Chris Hubbard protecting the edges. We know Joel Bitonio and center J.C. Treader are proven starters, but that's about it right now. 2 guys. And they inexplicably didn't address the line until round 6 of the draft with Drew Forbes. So, how did the Browns do in the draft? They get a draft grade of B, like every team I'm doing. Now, Cleveland didn't really do a lot in the draft, but part of that is because they decided they'd rather have Odell Beckham than 2 rookies, which I can definitely understand. So, without the luxury of a first-round pick, their second-round pick was Greedy Williams out of LSU, who's a very strong corner. He's not known for tackling, a big problem for the Browns, or wanting to tackle, or really trying to tackle, but hey, it's only football. Their next pick was Sione Taki, an outside linebacker out of BYU. We know he can talkie the talkie, but can he walkie the walkie? Or perhaps walkie the talkie? I think that's a trademark, though. He was suspended 4 times in college, so he'll need to bump those numbers up quick if he wants to fit in with the Browns. And ironically, he prefers hot Cheetos to Takis. Then they took Sheldrick Redwine in the 4th round, the safety who had been training with Sean Taylor's dad leading up to the draft. His only weakness is after getting greedy with red wine, he won't stop the talkie-talkie. Do I need to even continue on about the other draft picks? Because I know everyone just stopped watching. The tragedy here is I somehow missed Red Wine and Talkie Talkie for my best named players episode. That is my fault. I accept responsibility. And like a great red wine, Sheldrick is versatile, playing both corner and safety in college. Then it went Mac Wilson from Alabama, kicker Austin Siebert, O-line Drew Forbes from Missouri, and Donnie Lewis Jr., corner from Tulane. I think Mac Wilson is a great 5th-round pick, and I was really hoping the Broncos were going to take him on the very next pick before Cleveland stole him. He's great in coverage and only fell to the 5th round because many thought he needed another year in college. And we know how Alabama feels about early departures. Who needs to be a breakout player for the Browns? Now, this may sound stupid, but I think it needs to be rookie kicker Austin Siebert, selected in the 5th round. The Browns selected him before addressing their offensive line. Last season, Zane Gonzalez fucked them out of a win against the Steelers week 1 with the missed field goal, and followed that by missing 2 field goals against the Saints and 2 extra points, while the Browns lose by 3. He was cut by Cleveland and again by the Cardinals after week 7. Basically, if Cleveland had a kicker to start the season, they would have started out 2-0. But then again, that may have kept Hugh Jackson around all year. So maybe Zane Gonzalez is the real hero of Cleveland. That's what we'll think when history looks back. His replacement, Greg Joseph, was far better, an 85% kicker, which is very good, but not good enough to give a chance in 2019. So why draft Austin Siebert? Well, maybe because Joseph missed a 46-yarder at the end of the 2nd quarter in the final game of the season against the Ravens, a game the Browns lose by 2. Also because from beyond 40 yards, Joseph was only 6 of 9. If Browns fans aren't talking about their kicker at any point in 2019, that is a win for their special teams. Typically, with the new head coach, a second-year quarterback, you wouldn't assume the team would have a winning record. But I like Baker Mayfield a lot, and I think the Browns can get into the playoffs. I don't know if they'll win the division, but I feel like they are the only team in the division that definitely got better this offseason, and this is the best chance they've had since coming back into the NFL. The Browns are a blue-collar version of last year's LA Rams super team. If Cleveland landed or lands one more big fish on defense, they'd be close to the same Rams formula, in my opinion. The difference being, I think Baker Mayfield is a much better quarterback than Jared Goff. Baker has better weapons to throw the ball to, and I think the addition of Odell Beckham will help turn tight end David Njoku into a top 5 tight end in 2019. He had the 8th most receptions last year for a tight end with 56, 4 TDs, and 9 plays to go more than 20 yards, tied for 6th. If he cleans up his drops, which he was tied for the most with Travis Kelce at 8, but on 56 fewer targets, he should be a key piece of that offense when the defenses are doing everything in their power to cover Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, because Landry and Beckham are such different receivers and how they attack the field. Njoku's use by Freddie Kitchens is wide open. He's the other guy who should be a breakout player. Landry will be the number one focus underneath, and Beckham will be the number one focus deep, which if Njoku is your second option on either of those types of routes, Baker Mayfield should have a field day passing to him in 2019. Also, Njoku should be the number one target in the red zone for the Browns with his size and shredded abs. Actually, who is most ripped, David Njoku or Myles Garrett? Or that Jerry Maguire kid? Let me know in the comments, please. Maybe Baker Mayfield is right. The Browns are a bunch of great kids on the up and up. Great kids like Macaulay Culkin. The word Macaulay, by the way, would defeat any kid in a spelling bee. Great kids like the dead Thomas J, played by Macaulay Culkin in My Girl. Not the other dead kid he played, Henry, from The Good Son. That kid was the original Joffrey. As brought to my attention, though, by @Wilkey6, the Browns have had a similar career path as Macaulay Culkin. You thought I was just talking about Macaulay Culkin for no reason? That's funny. Like Macaulay, they were once the cute kid going to the AFC Championships, but then stopped working for a while. But then came back and looked like they were doing meth every day, but got their shit together and embraced their past and landed some sweet Google commercials. And here we are in 2019, where I think the Browns have a better chance at winning the Super Bowl than Macaulay Culkin has at winning an Oscar. Those are the official odds in Vegas, and the best odds the Browns have had since the 80s. So start streaming yourself some Macaulay Culkin movies in Cleveland. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe.